when I was in elementary school, this was probably like the third and fourth grade. I mean, obviously, I used to go up there and play, but in the fall on Saturdays, there used to always be a huge crowd of people there, and you could hear people cheering and just a bunch of noise, and for the longest time, as an 8-year old, as a 9-year old, I didn't know what was going on at the park. I thought perhaps,
Hmm.
there's just people there. It's the park, it's just people there having fun, hanging out, kicking it, barbecuing, et cetera, et cetera. But one of my best friends that I've known since kindergarten, his name is Justin Ramos, and we were at school one day, and we started talking about Saturdays at the park at Irvington Park, and he's like, "Yeah, it's a football league that's going on up there," and he started playing when we were in the third grade. Now I had no idea we were really close, but I didn't know that that's what he was doing on the weekends was going and playing football um, up there on Saturdays, and so I'm like, well, shoot, this is fourth grade. I'm like, well, I want to play too, Yeah, well, you can't play this season because there's, obviously there's paperwork and
Right.
everything like that goes into it. You got to try out. The season's already started, so it's too late. So that following year, his parents, they helped me get signed up and everything like that. I did the tryout. I remember getting picked second overall
Hmm.
to actually another running back who ended up going to the Cowboys. I,
Yeah.
I I got drafted by the Bills, but he ended up going to the Cowboys. And it's a funny story because we end up competing against each other in high school as well, all the way through.
Was it Felix Jones or no?
No, no, no.
I don't
You
know.
wouldn't you wouldn't you wouldn't know this guy. Fremont. He grew up in Fremont, California.
Oh,
Native.
okay. Yeah.
I don't know what he did past his high school days or anything like that, but interesting story. So, I always wanted to play. And so I got the opportunity. I found out what was going on up there at the park.
Hmm.
And my buddy and his parents, they got me signed up, and I ended up playing that following year, which was our fifth grade year. And I've been playing ball ever since.
Wow. So when you were growing up, and who did you look up to in the NFL back in the day as a running back?
My favorite running back was Barry Sanders. Growing up, my two favorite players of all time were him, Barry Sanders, Deion Sanders, and Jerry Rice. I grew up a 49er fan, and Jerry Rice was somebody that I really looked up to as well. I really liked all three of them. They all had their differences in personalities, obviously position and the way that they played, but all three were the greatest of all time at their position, and so, in my opinion, at least, and so those are the guys that I really tried to mimic. When I started playing football, my coach, his name was Joe Shammy, and in the Fremont Football League, it was divided up into two divisions. Really, you had your younger division, ages 8 to 12, and if you're a 12-year-old, depending on how much you weighed,
Hmm.
was dependent on which division you were going to play in, whether you played in the younger division or the older division. And obviously, the older division went from 12 to 14. Um, but most freshmen would play freshman football, but you'd be surprised. The league was pretty popular at that time. A lot of freshmen ended up playing like another year in the Fremont Football League. I didn't do that, obviously, but anyway, I came in. I was a 10-year-old, and I wanted to play running back. Obviously, I idolized Deion Sanders,
Right.
and my coach never in his history had a 10-year-old running back before.
Hmm.
And because you're younger and you're not as strong as an 11 or a 12-year-old, you probably can't break as many tackles or whatever. But long story short, I ended up becoming his first 10-year-old and probably the best player he's ever had.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
I'm just talking mess, but
Yeah. So my next question here for you. So how many offers did you have coming out of high school, and what made you choose Utah State?
um, so I had about four offers coming out of high school. They were mostly on the defensive side. You asked me if I played linebacker. I did not. I played safety, free safety at that. Um, but I chose Utah State. I was intrigued at the fact that they were a lower tier team. And it wasn't because, going to a lower tier team meant that you would play right away. It took me 2 years.
Hmm.
I didn't become a starter until my third year. But um, I like the challenge of taking a team that's not very good and doing everything I can to make them good. I wanted to take on a challenge of going to a lower tier school and making us higher tier school, for lack of a better word. It's easy to go, to the Oregons and things like that, but I felt like, if whether I go there or not, they're going to be good teams anyway. I felt like I could really make a difference, and really put my stamp on a place like Utah State. I like going to programs. When I came into high school, we weren't a very good team. We hadn't been a good team in years,
Hmm.
and our class and the class before us really um, turned that around. We came together as a unit, as a team, and we really not only rebuilt the program but rebranded it in a way where it became the standard, which was winning. And so we went to the state championship, and we fell short, but that never been done in Irvington's history, so on and so forth. Had some success the following year as well. And so going to Utah State, that mindset coming from that kind of background for me, that having that mentality, that's what really drove me to go to a place like that, as opposed to like Washington or something like that. And then obviously the cherry on top was achieving my dream, which was to play running back and not be on the defensive side.
Yeah, so obviously you had a great career at Utah State because I saw some videos that they posted on Twitter like 2 days ago, I think it was, of highlights of you
Yeah,
running
yeah,
I think getting some touchdowns. And what
yeah.
was the experience like playing at Utah State, and what did you learn from the coaching staff and your teammates to become a better running back?
Yeah, those videos, first of all, they look ancient. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't look like 2000, like nine, like they or 11. It's 2011. I'm like, man, these look like some 1986 videos. But Utah State was a great experience. I was determined, to leave California. I wanted to experience a new atmosphere and be around, different a different culture, just to see what it was like, see what it was going to be like. I've been up and down California. I knew what California was all about, and I wanted to be in a place where perhaps it was going to be a little bit uncomfortable for me. And so I went to Utah State. It was a wonderful experience. I did learn a lot. I had my first bit of adversity, real adversity, shortly after I got there. The very first training camp, I had an injury, and I had never been injured before. I never knew what that experience was like or felt like. I'd never been out of sport before. I've never been, kept out of sport, and I certainly had never had surgery before. And so my injury required surgery. I was only 17. I came into Utah State as a true freshman at 17. I didn't turn 18 until that December. Um, and so, yeah, so it was a very, different place for me. And then, listen, the surgeon, his job is to be honest with his clients and everything like that. And, um, my injury was significant enough to where he said, hey, listen, this is something that I'm going to be able to surgically repair, but it's not something that I can guarantee will sustain, which would likely end your football career, as a 17-year-old. And so hearing that from a surgeon, never even speaking to a surgeon before ever in my life, was certainly a stressful and uncomfortable experience for me. But I got through it.
Hmm.
I got through it, and 9 years later, here I am, still an active NFL player. And so that's really the base of what I learned at Utah State. There were other there are many examples of adversity that I can give you during my time and experience as a collegiate athlete, but I came out on top every time, and so uh, that is what I learned really. Not only about me, but about how life is going to be anyway. You know.
So before we get to your draft experience, I want to ask you, well, how come no one has called you or called your agent about coming back to the league this year?
We talk to teams every day,
Okay.
and so it's a business. It's been a just a weird year for everybody, for all players. I mean, think about the guys who were drafted low in the draft, the undrafted players. I mean, these are scenarios and situations that have never been seen before, and so it affects everybody, even the guys that are on the field and are fortunate enough to be on the field. They're affected as well, and so you know that you focus on what you can control.
Hmm.
That's it. What I can control is um, staying ready every single day and having faith that an opportunity is going to present itself, and when it does, just be ready to take advantage of it.
Yeah, because I feel like, especially with no off season, all these players are getting injured, dropping like flies. And like I'm a big Dallas Cowboy fan, and we already lost our tight end for the year, and
I feel sorry for you.
oh, and Sean Lee is, I mean, Van Der Esch is out, but going actually, I think if I were the Colts, I would call you again because Marlon Mack is out for the season, so I bet you they need a running back. So if I were the Colts, call Robert Turbin again for a comeback. But
Yeah, I'd love to go back to Indy, but we'll see.
yeah, but now getting to your draft experience, what was that like? And obviously, you say you got drafted by the Buffalo Bills. So how grateful were you when the Bills drafted you, and they gave you the opportunity, and then to start your NFL career?
Yeah, so when I mentioned that I was drafted for the Bills, I was pertaining to the Pop Warner League that I was
Oh,
playing in as a coming in as a 10-year-old.
yeah.
But obviously Seattle drafted
I
me,
mean Seattle, yeah.
yeah, in 2012. And the experience of the draft was, I mean, obviously being drafted was an incredible feeling, but the experience leading up to it was a little bit stressful. I mean, it was kind of nerve wracking. I expected to go earlier in the draft. I went in the fourth round. I thought I'd go second, latest third, and when that didn't happen, um, I was visibly upset about it. And so when I finally did get the call, although I was excited, I was excited. I was discouraged at the same time, just a little bit. And so the experience, although in the end was phenomenal, in the middle of it was a little bit stressful and discouraging. But overall, God put me right where I was supposed to be.
Yeah, sorry for that mistake.
No, you're good.
But now, explain to me what was the experience like playing for Seattle? Obviously, top notch team in the NFL for a long time, and they're still competing hard. And Russell Wilson, man, this guy, this guy's a hell of a quarterback, one of the best in my opinion. So, what was it like playing underneath Pete Carroll, and then playing with Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner, Richard Sherman, and all these great talented players in Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate. I've been very fortunate to play with some phenomenal players and have some phenomenal teammates and have some really incredible coaches. And on top of that, with what a lot of people ignore is the fact that Seattle is a great run organization as well. And you can't say that about every team in the league. And not every player gets the opportunity to play for a team that's really well run from an organizational standpoint. That's really important.
Mhm.
It's really important to the success to the team and the staff that coaches the team. And so I was really fortunate from the very beginning. That's why I said, God put me right where I was supposed to be. But it was great. Obviously, we had some early success as young players, and we did some really really great things. And guys have been able to continue their careers and do some phenomenal things and continue to build on what they've done early in their careers. And it's just been great to see. And it was just such a blessing to be a part of. It was a great experience going back and being a part of the team again,
Mm,
and not so much reliving old moments, but really work hard to build and create new ones
right.
during that playoff run last year. And so yeah, what an experience. It's been nothing short of phenomenal.
And then also, before we get to your Super Bowl run, I want to ask you what was it like competing with Marshawn Lynch on the same team, beast mode? This guy, when it comes to the press conferences, is to be honest, is the best. But what was it like playing with him?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's included in that. When I talk about having great teammates and being a part of a great team, Marshawn was a great teammate to have, and it was like, it was phenomenal to watch him do some amazing things on the field as a runner. The leadership that he showed in the locker room to a lot of the guys who might have been down and out about something, or things weren't quite going their way. It's certainly entertaining to see how he interacted with the media and stuff like that. So, yeah, great person and great teammate to have.
So now getting to your guys' Super Bowl run, what was the message from Pete Carroll heading to that season, and how hard was it? Obviously, 16-game season's hard, but to be able to be collective minded and focused, and then heading into the playoffs, what was the message sent by Pete Carroll, and then what was that season like, and explain to me how hard was it, and then, but obviously you guys got the goal, so
Hmm.
the champ.
Yeah, every season is difficult. There's always going to be some up and down moments. Pete has this way of being able to bring everybody together when everybody feels a little bit distressed or going one way or the other. But the message and the goal was clear from day one. We wanted to focus on what we could accomplish first, which was winning the NFC West. And then once we won the NFC West, then we can be NFC champions, which
Hmm.
is the next goal. And then obviously the Super Bowl came after that. So we prioritized what we wanted to do. If you skip over some of the things that you can accomplish first, sometimes it makes it harder to get to the ultimate goal. Um, you know, Kind of like the Clippers and the Nuggets a little bit,
Yeah.
right? You see the Clippers kind of overlooking, like, they're looking at the Lakers. They're so close, they can taste it, but you forgot that you still got to play the Nuggets,
Hmm.
you know. And so, yeah, the message was clear from that standpoint, and also, uh, every game that we play, I know it sounds cliche, but they were all championship games. It sounds cliche, but we literally, I mean, that's how we approached every game. I mean, we literally talked about it like week 6 championship game against whoever it was. Like, it was a championship. Like, this was the Super Bowl today, week 6. And so when we got there, it was just another game.
Right.
Like, the message was like, guys, think about it. We've already played 18 Super Bowl championship games. We already played 18 of them. This one's no different. The only thing that's different is a few more cameras and a few more seats in the stands, a little bit more hype.
Yeah.
But the game itself is the same. We've played in these championship games all season long. So it did deter our mindset. That's why we were able to go out and dominate the way that we did.
Obviously, you played Denver in the Super Bowl. Were you guys how confident were you guys heading into that game? But Denver's obviously known for their defense. And what was the experience like playing against that team and against Von Miller and that defense?
Yeah, we were very confident. Um, and it was a phenomenal opportunity to go against one of the legendary quarterbacks of all time, and one of the legendary franchises of all time as well. But we wanted that for ourselves. legendary, having a team that, leaves a legacy in Seattle. We wanted to build something of our own. And so our confidence level was very high.
Hmm. So obviously, you came back to Seattle for a second stint, but was it tough leaving the first time because you won a Super Bowl with them and they drafted you? And but was it tough leaving and then going to another team?
Yeah, it was really tough leaving. I was really hurt, leaving Seattle the first time. It was the first time I'd ever been like cut or anything like that in my life, released. I couldn't believe that I would have to go and play for another team. Um, it took some time for that to register in my mind. But you live and you learn and you understand what this business is all about, and there's no love lost there. A lot of the reason why I was able to go back is because of that relationship, and I cherished every moment, especially when I came back, and because you have some memories there that you'll never forget. And so, yeah, the first time, when it first happened, I was really hurt, but we were able to mend that relationship, and going back was a phenomenal opportunity to help us win another Super Bowl.
Yeah. So before let me before we get to your other stints with the other teams, I'm gonna get to one of my questions. One of the questions from my friends here. Let's see where. Okay, he asked you, what's the difference preparation wise during the regular season and then when it comes to the playoff time? How different is the preparation for you guys when it comes to regular season and playoff?
There's no difference.
No.
Nope. Every
Okay.
game is a championship game. So the teams that, like, they like kind of change gears, or they feel like they have to shift gears, those are the teams that likely get eliminated.
Okay. So now heading into your, explain to me how was the experience like with the Colts, the Browns, and the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, so I first went to the Browns. We weren't expecting to go to the Browns, but they claimed us off waivers, and so um, um, we didn't originally want to go there, but once they claimed us, it was like, well, this is an opportunity. It is a legendary franchise at the end of the day, with some great years with Jim Brown and stuff like that, and so with me, I'm always thinking big, and it's just like, man, I go to the Browns, I'm like, man, we can make these days similar to when Jim Brown was running the ball and they had those championship type teams, and we can be a championship type team, and you have to go into it with that kind of mindset, or you've already lost. It's like, what's the point of even putting on the cleats if you don't believe you can be great? And so but it was a short stint there. It ended up not working out the way that we thought. And so then I went to Dallas, and Dallas was a really good experience. I'll never forget the first day I got there was on a Wednesday. I flew in, and I signed the deal, and they showed me to my locker, and they gave me my stuff. And the first person that came up to me was Des Bryant.
Oh
And
wow. Yeah.
I'd never met Des before. I never shook hands with him after a game before, anything like that. But he welcomed me to the team, and he welcomed me to the team. He let me know that if there was anything that I needed, he'd be there for me. And it wasn't one of those like, oh, if you need anything, I'll be there, like fake.
Hmm.
It was for real. We exchanged phone numbers. He invited me over to his house for dinner. I mean, just a phenomenal leader and teammate, who didn't know me from a can of paint. I wouldn't have expected that, but he did. And from that moment forward, I felt really comfortable being a part of the team. Obviously, I was going to work hard, and I had some good success in Dallas, and because of that, it led to my opportunity with the Colts. And playing for the Colts was great. Having that opportunity was great. We didn't have any winning seasons, but I had my best season of my career, in my opinion, in 2016, which was my first year with the Colts, and I really had to fight. I had to battle, scratch and claw for every opportunity that I got, and then those opportunities started to become consistent. Um, and I was able to have some success. And so the Colts really matured me in a lot of ways as it became, as it pertains to being a pro football player. A lot of that had to do with being teammates with Frank Gore, and Frank Gore taught me a lot. He taught me the most that I know as it pertains to being a pro football player. Inside out, on the field, off the field. I haven't learned more from anybody, any single individual player, more than Frank. So,
Uh, hmm. Frank, and plus Frank Gore is still going at it with the Jets. this guy
oh
is like
yeah,
this guy's like a man. This guy can play whenever till 45 or 50. Man, this guy,
yeah,
he's a legend.
he's
But
a beast.
yeah, but going back to the Dallas, like I said, I'm a big Cowboy fan, and
Hmm.
Des Bryant, man, he gets criticized for everything, but to be honest, I loved him when he was on the team, and he's trying to make a comeback. Hopefully, someone picks him up soon. But he was a great player for us, and by the way, that was a catch against Green Bay because I'm still mad about that one. I think
Yeah, I
that,
agree.
that was a catch, and
Uh-huh.
uh, but um, but what was it like? I'm sure you were you there when Zeke was there that year?
No.
No, okay.
Mm-mm.
But seeing Zeke now as a running back, what advice? I mean, did you give him any advice coming into Dallas, or he obviously he's a stud, but what advice did you give him, or if you did, or seeing him now, how a good of a running back he is?
Yeah, I was never teammates with Zeke, so I played with McFadden.
Yeah,
So I had McFadden and I were, he was a great teammate,
yeah,
and I had a lot of fun playing with McFadden. But Zeke, to be honest, listen, I don't know Zeke well enough for me to be able to issue any advice to the kid. But it looks like to me he's taking care of himself very well.
yeah.
He's had a good amount of success in the league so far, and I'm sure that it'll continue for him.
Yeah. So before we get to your podcast that you do, I want to ask you that I interviewed your trainer from Game Fit on my show. I think it was last month I had him on, or a couple of weeks ago. No, a couple of weeks ago. What's it like having a trainer like that that pushes you every day in the gym, and he's up like 2:33 in the morning, and then pushing you guys in the gym. But what's it like having him and then trying to continue your career too at the same time?
Yeah, we start training every day at 4 in the morning. Um, it's a true blessing, honestly, to have been acquainted with Lim over at Game Fit.
Yeah.
He believes in me, and that's really all you can ask from a trainer. Training is, you know, uh, training is one thing. You can put me through all the drills and all the stuff, but listen, if I don't believe, number one, but if he doesn't believe in what we're doing together, then we're just wasting time. There's really no substance in what we're doing. And Lim, listen, Lim has been there for me from day one. He's never charged me a dime to train me, to spend his time with me, to invest his time with me every morning. And I couldn't be more grateful to have him in my life.
Yeah, and also seeing all these other people at the gym. I interviewed Sarah Hodges on my show. She's a sports reporter and she's part of the Game Fit gym too. So what's like seeing her and these other people working hard at the gym, like at the same gym?
Yeah, what I love about the gym is it's a phenomenal atmosphere, and the doors are open to all types of people, just as long as you're ready to work.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah, so it's a great place to be.
yeah. So I want to get to your podcast now, Turbo Talk. When did that come? How did that come about? And obviously you're working with Bridget Case. She's a great reporter too. So what's it like working with her? And how did the podcast come about?
Yeah, I was approached by Believe Network out of LA. They asked me about doing a podcast. I never really aspired to do a podcast before. I never thought about it. I knew that I always wanted to do TV or radio or both, but the podcast world I wasn't really familiar with. But they asked me to be a part of their network, and gave me an opportunity to do some cool stuff with it. And so I said, sure, I try it out. And we had our first episode in Miami at the Super Bowl. And, we've been rolling from there. We've been 2 seasons now, and I've taken a little bit of a break from it just because I wanted to see how how the football thing was going to shape out. But we're going to be relaunching here pretty soon,
Nice.
and I can't wait to get it going again.
Yeah. So, what's it like working with Bridget as a co-host?
She's amazing. I mean, she's like a chameleon because she can play so many different parts and wear so many different hats. I wouldn't be able to do the podcast as efficiently as I do it without her and her help.
Yeah. So for me, I'm currently working on getting a co-host too for my podcast because I'm over 500 episodes already. I started this at the beginning of the pandemic, so hopefully, and then also I do another podcast with my other friends. That's on hold, but we're just building our own brands. So I'm over like 500 interview episodes. I'm just honored like
Wow.
for all of you guys to come on and just to talk not only sports but life journeys, and where you guys came from. I'm just honored because I had a lot of former athletes on, current athletes, and it's just an honor for you guys to come on. But
I appreciate that. 500
yeah,
episodes, man. That's pretty amazing.
yeah.
Just in the span of six
I mean,
months.
you can tell already that I don't quit on messaging people.
Nah, you don't, bro. And I'm gonna be honest, you almost lost me. I was about to be like, man, this dude is just he hit me too much. But at the same time, I appreciated the persistency, and I know how it is. I know how it is, like sitting in your seat,
Yeah,
when you're, especially when it comes to like getting guests and confirmations and times and stuff like that. Like you're trying to get the calendar rolling so you can let everybody else know that's a part of it. Like, hey, we got this person and all that kind of stuff. And so hopefully you can scrounge up enough capital to eventually get yourself a booking agent,
yeah.
and you can kind of that's one less stressful thing you got to do.
Yeah. So so before I do this rapid fire segment with all my guests that come on the show, but before we get to that, a few more questions from my friends here. He said, any advice on how to save money and protect your future while you're still making money?
Yeah, spend money on things that are going to make you money. Simple. How do you do that? Well, you have to educate yourself. um, you gotta study things. You gotta be willing to put in time to study things that you don't know. But the best advice that I can give on that is to spend your money on things that are going to make you money, make your money work for you.
Hmm. So you ready for this rapid fire segment?
Sure.
All right. Kawhi Leonard's laugh or Kevin Hart's laugh?
Kawhi.
Favorite food?
Uh, Pizza.
What are your thoughts on this year's Seahawks teams? Obviously, Jamal Adams on the team, and obviously Russell Wilson. 4 touchdown passes in week
But
one.
the pizza has to be from Costco.
Costco, Costco pizza. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So my next question here: what are your thoughts on this year's Seahawks team? And obviously, Russell Wilson is leaving off from last year. This guy is—I don't know how he does it, but 4 touchdown passes in week one. But what are your thoughts? So, their defense is loaded. Jamal Adams.
Super Bowl bound.
Hmm. Favorite. So outside of your podcast and outside of training, what else do you like to do?
Um, Play basketball. I know that's like sports, but I love hooping.
Mhm.
Like I love hooping. But I also play the drums and piano, so music would probably be another really consistent hobby that I'm into.
Thoughts on the NBA playoffs so far?
I'm done watching.
Oh, you done watching?
Yeah,
Who?
those are my thoughts.
Oh, okay.
The
Um,
Clippers lost last night. It was just, I mean, I'm happy for the Nuggets. Don't get me wrong, but now the Lakers kind of have an easy road to the championship, in my opinion. It's gonna be less competitive. I love what's going on in the East. I like the Miami Heat. I love that series against the Celtics. I think they'll ink it out in 6 or 7.
mhm.
But it's really become an easy road now for the Lakers, and that's just not entertaining. I think the only team that can really give the Lakers some trouble would probably be the Heat
Mhm.
because they have size and guys that can move. But Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, the Nuggets aren't a championship team. The Celtics aren't there yet. At the end of the day, I mean, if you're just looking at it from
Right.
reality, the reality is it's going to be the Lakers, and the series are going to be easy for them.
So
I
what?
hope somebody proves me wrong, though.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the Lakers will be in the finals, but I feel like I picked the Heat in six, so hopefully I don't know. Celtics are
I hope
tough.
you're right.
Yeah, but I say Celtics are tough, but I feel like the Heat have they have all the momentum right now, so I feel like the Heat can pull it off. But what's it like seeing Bruce Irvin back in Seattle?
It's dope. I love Bruce.
What are your thoughts on the? Obviously, I want to get to. I'm gonna get to an important topic here. Everybody should be talking about this. What is your thoughts on these players taking a stand, making a statement to get the social injustice thing solved, and seeing all the NFL players coming together also during the pregame shows, and the NBA players even, and WNBA players.
I love it. I do. These guys and girls are doing the best that they can as it pertains to letting their voice be heard. They're doing what they feel that they should be doing. Um, you know, so I think there are some things uh, that we can do to take some extra steps,
Mhm.
but uh, I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah. So outside of the Super Bowls, outside of the two Super Bowls, what was your most memorable game that you played at Utah State, and then the rest of your career?
The most memorable game at Utah State was our comeback win against University of Hawaii in 2011. And you asked about my pro career as well.
Yeah. Outside of the Super Bowl.
Outside of Super Bowl was probably both the NFC Championship games that we played going into the Super Bowl. I think one year was against the 49ers. The other year was against the Green Bay Packers.
Mhm.
Both really exceptional games to be a
So
part
where did you get your nickname Turbo from?
of. I've always been fast. I've always had a lot of speed, and it kind of came natural. Somebody, it started with my freshman football coach calling me Turbine,
Oh.
which I guess is supposed to be some sort of motor,
Huh.
but that's not catchy at all.
No.
I mean, I love him for trying, but the following year, my sophomore year, I can't even remember who it was, but it turned into Turbo, and it's been that way ever since.
Yeah, so I want to before I get to the last thing here, I gotta ask. I want to tell you that I'll send you a couple of my other friends' podcasts so you can check it out. But there's this one you should definitely check out. Global Kid Media. He's 14 years old. He's done over 1,000 interviews. He's trying to be the first sideline kid reporter. What do you think of the idea of having kids on the sideline now?
Huh? That would be dope. Actually, I
Yeah.
like that a lot. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so I'll send you his page and then some of my other friends' page. You can check it out. So the last thing here, would you like to say anything to all the nurses, doctors, or the essential workers?
Thank you. Thank you for everything you've been doing. You guys are the real heroes out here. I mean, and let's throw. I mean, I don't know where you are in the world or in the region, but I'm in California.
I'm in
So
Jersey. Yeah.
okay, so I have to give a big shout out to all the firefighters out here in
Yeah.
California with these fires and stuff like that going on. I have a buddy of mine who I spoke with a few weeks ago. He said, "Man, I haven't been home in over 50 days. Fighting fires and who knows how many more days came after that after we spoke on the phone briefly at that." But yeah, the doctors and the nurses, man, doing everything you guys have been doing this year with the coronavirus, saving lives. Firefighters doing the same thing, saving lives. They're the real heroes of this country,
Hmm.
and they don't got to carry a gun to be one.
Yeah. Well said. And thank you, Robert Turbin, aka Turbo, for joining me on the NR Hour Sports Podcast Show. This has been an honor. I'll be posting this on all social media formats. Keep up the great work. Keep grinding. I hope you get another opportunity in the NFL soon. I would like to come on your podcast one day.
All right,
And also we should do a collab show with all three of us too. So
all right, cool. I'm
Yeah.
cool.
So
I'm good with that.
yeah, I'm working on getting Bridget on the show too. So hopefully that comes to fruition. But keep up the great work, and you're a great football player. Keep inspiring these kids, and you and your family stay safe.
All right, bro. You too.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Peace.